I'm at home in my office today and I wanted to show you everything about my sample closet. This space houses over 100 handmade knit and crochet pieces. I'll tell you all about them as well as how I put this space together to function beautifully for me with a really small footprint. I also have all of the latest samples from our latest pre-order that need to be put away in there, as well as some other ones that I just haven't gotten around to organizing. But let's start at the beginning and see what this space used to look like. When I started splitting my time between the studio and working from home more, a lot of my samples and materials moved home with me. Around the same time, a lot of our collections became more sample focused, so I quickly had a really large number of knit and crochet samples that needed a permanent home. And for a while, this good-sized closet off of my home office was serving as the landing pad for these samples. At the time, they were kind of organized into clear plastic bins with lids. They were all labeled so I knew where things were, but those bins just kept stacking, and at some point I stopped putting things into bins. I think I was so overwhelmed by how to organize this space. There was several different ideas I had or things that I could implement. This space is a little bit deeper than it looks. It's exactly 4 feet by 4 feet. Being a perfect square, the rack that was at the back of the closet originally really wasn't helping anybody because those side walls were completely underutilized. My plastic bins stacked up. I also had a huge pile of handmade things on the floor. Oh, it hurts my heart just to think about it now, and it definitely was something that I knew that needed to change back then as well. I even looked at like custom closet systems so that I can maybe put some things in drawers, some things hung up, even though I knew that wouldn't be what was best for all of these handmade sweaters. But I was just kind of starting to get to a point where I didn't know what to do, and it seemed like I had more and more samples and no plan. As I was mulling over all of this, there was a day where I was looking back through all of my really old Instagram feed photos, looking for a reference to something, an announcement post from an old collection, and I came across a photo from back when we had all of our business operations out of our house in our spare bedroom before we moved into the studio. And back then, all of our yarn was stored in IKEA cube storage units. Kind of the gold standard for storing yarn. You see them in local yarn shops all the time, in hand-dyed yarn, indie dyer studios. They're really great. The size, the dimensions hold yarn beautifully. And they can hold a good volume of yarn in a fairly small space. They're also really inexpensive. The custom closet storage solutions that I was looking at were not going to hold all of these samples and counting that I had, and they were going to cost way more than I wanted to spend. So I started to wonder if those cube storage pieces would fit in this closet. Then I got to thinking about the height of the closet. These are 9-foot ceilings, so we have 9 feet to play with. And for a moment, I thought about taking the cube storage all the way to the ceiling. I didn't quite get there, but there's still room to add to it. Working with these unique dimensions and knowing that I didn't want to just use the back wall of the closet, I wanted to use that side wall as well. I shopped around and landed on these cube storage units from Target. They're not the sturdiest, highest quality thing. They're made of particle board, but they were super inexpensive. The dimensions fit like a glove, like not a 1/4 inch of wasted space. We screwed them into the wall with the mounting brackets that were included so that we could stack these and not worry about anything toppling. We were able to fit a 3x3 cube, so 9 cubes, on each wall, so kind of in an L shape, and then do the same again on top. I believe I still have room for another 9 cube on top of each side, but because that was going to be difficult to reach and I wanted to leave a little bit of taller shelf space for some other items, I opted to just stick with the 2 layers of 9 cube storage. I have 36 cubes with which to store handmade items in this small closet. Everything's open and accessible. I can see everything at a glance. And frankly, it makes me want to wear my handmade items so much more because I'm opening a closet that is inspiring me to do so, rather than it all being tucked away in plastic bins. Now, I have gotten some questions in the past about moths. Are moths a concern with my pieces stored like this? The short answer is yes, it's something to be aware of. I've never had a moth issue. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen to me. But I've put in a little bit of a protective layer just in case. The classic age-old moth repellent is cedar. People keep wool in a cedar chest to prevent moths from getting to it. It's not foolproof, but in my experience, cedar does keep moths at bay around wool. So I do have some cedar packets as well as some lavender sachets tucked behind my stacks of knit pieces. If I do find any moth damage and I have bad luck, my plan is to follow the freezing protocol, which is to take all of your handmade items and any wool in the area out and put it into the freezer. I believe that this kills the moths, the larvae, something like that. I haven't ever had a moth issue, so I'm not as well versed in it as those who have unfortunately dealt with it. But if you have any additional tips or experiences with dealing with that, I'd love to know in the comments if there's any other added protection that I can give this closet. I have a big pile of knits to add to the closet, so let's look. Oops, this is actually a surprise that you're not supposed to see, so you saw nothing. Whoops. Another example of this closet being the spot where I just put things and leave them there for way too long, even though they're staring at me saying, "Ashleigh, move me to where I belong." This is a Whole Foods bag full of home yarn scraps from projects from like when home first came out almost a year ago. I have a spot in my office for scraps. Why is this not there? Couldn't tell you. This is where my scraps belong in my cube storage. More cube storage. I don't know why I didn't put that together until now. Anyway, I have a couple shelves for scraps. This one here is fuzzy scraps. Fuzzies exclusively. I don't know. All kinds of fuzzy stuff. And then this one here on the end is everything else. Eventually, I'll probably need to separate my scraps by weight and not just texture. But for now, it's all going in the same spot. So I bet that this is going to fill up that little cube, but let's see. This is not supposed to be a scrap organization video, but that just like needed to be done. So most of what I have to put away today are sweaters, but I do have some accessories too. So I wanted to show you a little bit about how this is organized. The back wall is all garments, sweaters, tops, tees, all of these things. And then the entire left side is accessories, first broken up by project type. So all of my scarves and shawls are together, all my hats are together, socks are together, and then by color or color family. All of the garments, sweaters are organized by color or color family. Most of these pieces are wool, so they're therefore cooler weather pieces. I didn't feel like breaking it up by season really made a lot of sense, even though I do have some spring, summer, warm weather pieces. I just felt like doing it by color made my brain happy. A color kind of rainbow gradient. My whole life is about color, so that just made sense to my brain. If you did this at home, you could organize it any way you wanted to. One of the first things I need to do in order to put this pile of knits away is fold everything first. These cubes are about 12 inches wide, so I actually use an old cross-stitch book to help me measure. So instead of crouching on the floor in this closet in order to kind of mark everything up and see and get my dimensions right for folding, I use this. So this is just about exactly the same width. So I'm going to put this on my tabletop and I'm going to fold kind of to this measurement to make sure that I get just the right fit. apologize, you guys, the lighting in here is a bit harsh, and it might throw off the color a little bit. Let me actually try. The natural light makes the colors look truer, but it's darker, and I think that's actually harder to see. All right, we're gonna deal with the brighter light, and I'll walk you through cube by cube everything that's in here. So up top, I have all of my blocking supplies, lots of extra wool wash, all my blocking mats, tubs, and I threw my kids' book storage tubs up there because I didn't have another space for them. This is an extra tripod for filming. Also up top, just while we're here, that is my basket of blocking pins. Very cute. Keeps the sharp things away from the little ones. My Swift and my ball winder. And then that basket is actually a purse that I used to carry all of my projects in, but it kind of snags the yarn a little bit, unfortunately. So I have all of my unsightly cords and things that I need for my winder tucked away in there. And I think it makes for a nice little top decor area. Okay, so over here on my accessory wall, I have first a bunch of little rolled up like croissant mini scarves, all different yarns, all different colors. I want to get a little acrylic riser so that I can stack all of these little croissants nicely, but you know, give it time. And then I have my grayish purplish shawls, neutral and blushy shawls, brighter pinks and red shawls, more pink shawls. Are you sensing a favorite color? Brighter, more rainbow shawls, including my just finished chapter shawl. And then we get into some more autumnal colors. I have a whole shelf just for butterscotch colored shawls and scarves because I do love a golden yellow accessory. I think it adds such a beautiful pop of contrast color to just about any outfit. And then I have some warm toned multicolor scarves and shawls. This is my hat shelf. I have a whole bunch of different hats, Manhattan hats, bonnets, all different things in there. Next is my kind of foresty green scarf and shawl shelf. Blue and green scarf and shawl shelf. Lot of scarves and shawls. I love a good scarf. I love a good shawl. I love making them. I love wearing them. Never get sick of it. Sock shelf, all nicely folded. I don't wear a lot of hand knit socks. I'll be honest, I've actually never made my own pair of hand knit socks. All of these were knit for me by sample knitters. Dark gray blue scarves and shawls, and then cool tone multicolor scarves and shawls. I have a few berets and a pair of mittens here, which I didn't have another place for. A few blankets, all of my tool sets. I have multiple of the knitting needle, crochet hook, and Tunisian crochet hook sets that are my own line and available on my website. And then just a bin of extra tote bags because you can never have enough, and I like to keep them put away. I also have a couple of tote bags up here. Oh, look at me in the mirror. This one is a hand-painted tote bag by Denim and Rain that I got in Seattle at Flock 2 years ago. Most cherished tote bag. I can't believe that she hand-painted all of those. Just beautiful. And this holds a really disorganized bag inside a bag of all my extra needles and cords. It's not part of a set. It's unsightly. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, now we're moving on to all of the sweaters. These are just organized by color, so kind of pastel purples, darker, more plum and lavender purples, super dark and grayish purples, reds and hot pinks, lighter pinks and pastels, more neutrally pinky blue situations. Again, getting more autumnal in the midsection. Warm browns and goldenrods, another warm brown goldenrod, deeper browns, and my heirloom quilt cardigan. All greens, multicolors that include green, tealish blue-green, all blues, more all blues, grayish blues, all neutral, neutral multicolor, and some random craft kit and Lego sets that I have not had time to make. So, I do intend to switch out this light because I don't love the fluorescent. It's really not giving inspiration, and I hope to put some art on this wall at some point, but As always, it is a work in progress, but a beautiful work in progress, I think. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me in my sample closet today. I hope that it's given you some ideas for storing your own handmade things and really enjoying them as visual pieces of art as much as things to wear. I would love to hear how you store your handmade things at home so that we can all share ideas together. And if you did enjoy this video, please click that like button. It tells YouTube that I'm doing a good job. And follow for more cozy, crafty content. See y'all in the next one. Bye.